Hello, Larrys and Larry S's. It is I, the vicious scumbag. And across from me,
Your Honorable Sensei.
and together, we are the Longturnlarry podcast. And we're here to talk about man's best friend.
Exactly. When you enter the park, put your paw out. Put it out. Give me a shake.
Good boy.
Good boy.
We have Dogmeat, the ever loyal. Naya, which is red, green, white. For a 3/3 dog with whenever Dogmeat enters the battlefield, mill 5 cards, then return an aura or equipment card from your graveyard to your hand. Whenever equipped creature you control that's enchanted or equip attacks, create a junk token. Junk tokens are an artifact with tap, sacrifice this artifact, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card in this turn. Activate only as a source tree. We got a wonderful pre-con, loving the Fallout series here. What we're gonna go over today is a breakdown of what I believe are much needed cards for Dogmeat. The downside here is I believe Dogmeat makes you want to pick a style. So we're gonna go over the 3 ways I believe you could touch on Dogmeat. We're not going to go over cards that we're removing. This is using the Dogmeat pre-con. So the bulk of the cards are staying in. I think it's a really good pre-con, but I want to go over what I believe Dogmeat specifies here. So what is the 3 paths? We have auras, we have equipments, and we have both.
Perfect.
You think it's gonna be both, but I have a feeling I can advocate for it being one or the other. And I think you guys might agree after we take a breakdown here. So we'll start off with the cards that I would include in either way that we go here. These are just must includes. So how do we take care of the Dogmeat? He is our Voltron. He is our number 1. So this is going to be a lot of cards that either make him massive, make him protected, or work completely around his synergies. So remember, we are trying to keep the dog safe.
You know what? Your opponents are the dog catcher. And you there to bite them right in the ass.
I was very surprised by a couple of these cards we're going to talk about. I know they do a good job of the precons. I think you'll agree. I think these recent precons, as of I want to say the past 4 circuits of them they've been really good. I feel like they got good bones.
These were sort of scattered to me.
Really?
The reason why is they wanted to add a whole bunch of Fallout characters. So some of these cards what you doing in here?
Yeah, what are you doing in this deck? A card I was surprised that they didn't include was Danitha Capuchin Paragon. 2 colorless and a white for a 2/2 human knight, legendary. First strike, vigilance, lifelink, already amazing. But auras and equipments you cast cost 1 less to cast. If you do nothing with Dogmeat, go grab this card. It's under $1 and it makes your whole deck run well. And it's a good just body in general.
She sound like a gun runner to me.
Yeah, Danitha got swords on the low.
She got the laser blicky. She got the regular blicky. She got grenades.
You hit me up, I got it.
I got it.
Another one I was very surprised I didn't see was Shram. Senior Edificer. Colorless and a white for a 2/2 dwarf advisor. Whenever you cast an aura, equipment, or vehicle spell, draw a card. Again, doesn't need to change anything with the deck. You can find him for under $1. This is going to immediately just make the deck to where you're going to be getting more card draw, seeing more of the deck. We don't have to really go any deeper than that.
Exactly. If you're indecisive, you can be like, I want to do whatever I want to do. Well, these are universally good for dogs.
These are dog approved. The next one here, this is a more pricier pick. I get that they didn't include this one. It is Sigarda's Aid. For a singular white, we have an enchantment that says you may cast aura and equipment spells as though they had flash. And whenever an equipment enters the battlefield under your control, you may attach it to target creature you control. This is an expensive card. It's going to be north of $10 normally, but this makes everything that Dogmeat does faster and cheaper. We're going to go over why the two of those things are really important here. They're both downsides to the two play styles.
So your artifact equipments in your chants are just like
you're about to die.
Prepared to die.
Wow, incredible.
And our final card here that our final two actually that I expected there to be a Fallout version for, and I was very surprised that they didn't take advantage of this. Thran Power Suit. Why we didn't get a power armor version of this for the Dogmeat deck? Huge missed opportunity. But we have Thran Power Suit, 2 colorless for equipment that says equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each aura and equipment attached to it, and it has Ward 2 and has Equip 2. This is a very, very powerful equipment.
Real bad man.
That's what's going to the dogs turn it into. And the final must include, we have Open the Armory. This is a colorless and a white sorcery that says search your library for an aura or equipment card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. Again, this one is not super cheap, not super expensive. You have to reveal it, that's our downside, but this is allowing us to go get that key piece for either way we're going. So please keep those cards in mind. These are really important picks for just making your Dogmeat more effective.
you want to take care of your dog, get him groomed,
That's right.
clip his nails,
The tippy taps.
you know, give him good pets.
Many booty smacks.
Many.
Yep. For those of you at home, if you have not experienced Big Dog Love, I'm sorry that you have missed it.
Because you're a cat person.
This video isn't for you. This is a dog video.
It's a dog video. Take your cat somewhere else.
This wasn't a cat meat. It even sounds bad. Sounds like a cheap restaurant.
Sound like a cheap stripper.
Ew. Now, how much you pay for that? It don't matter. It's cheap. That's cat meat.
It's cat.
No cat meat. Come meet my friend. So, what are these 3 breakdowns? We went over the equipment and the aura as being the 2, to where it is you should pick one or the other. The downsides to the 2 of them here, I think we should go over equipments first. Equipments, in my opinion, are the more powerhouse version of this. Definitely more powerful, more geared towards later in the game. Reason I say that is if you don't have things like Sigarda's Aid out, or a card that we'll spoil here in a little bit, Hammer of Nazan is a great example. If you don't have these cards, equipments have to be paid for to be brought out, and then they normally have to be paid for again to equip them to something. So this isn't we get them out early. It's like, okay, you cheated out said equipment early, but if you can't equip it, you can't equip it.
Yeah, equipments tend to be very mana intensive, so
Yes.
you want to be running cards that just like, no.
Yeah, either reduce their cost, insta equip them, reduce the equip cost. Like there's so many cards. The precon does come with some like good notables, like Pure Steel Paladin. Like that's already in there. So it's like, that's what I was saying. It wants you to play both, but remember, equipments are at sorcery speed. That is another really big downside. Like if you try to do something in response, it's at sorcery speed. So removal is a lot easier to deal with artifacts.
Do not let them come in your house and kick your dog.
No, not my dude. Come to my house and you kick my dog.
Come to my house and you kick my dog.
So let's go over some good cards for your Dogmeat equipment version. So the first one we have here, we got to protect that dog. We got Akiri, Fearless Voyager, colorless red-white for a 3/3 core warrior. Whenever you attack a player with one or more equipped creatures, draw a card. Super nice, but the second effect is what's really nice here. For just a white, you may unattach an equipment from a creature you control. If you do, tap that creature and it gains indestructible until end of turn. AKA, we're protecting the dog.
You throwing the equipment out and parrying the attack. Just ping!
Let me give us an equipment that you like here, Honorable.
We already talked about Hammer of Nazan. You know, that's a pretty good one. But I like my dogs to be black in the midnight. That's a shadow spear, you heard me? One colorless for a legendary artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 and adds trample and lifelink. You can pay one. Permanent to your opponent's control. Lose hexproof and indestructible. Nah, son.
It's so powerful.
Nah, son. You don't have that no more. You think you was gonna block my dog meat with an indestructible bug?
Your bug did.
Your bug did. Ate it.
I ate your bug.
Delicious. Pooped him out. Ate him again.
Because I'm a dog. On the spirit of incredible artifacts, we spoiled it but didn't cover. We have Hammer of Nazan. 4 colorless for Hammer of Nazan. When it or another equipment enters the battlefield under your control, attach it to target creature you control. Equipped creature gets +2/+0 and has indestructible. Again, keeping the dog safe.
What is this? If you're playing the equipment deck, you sort of have to have Hammer of Nazan somewhere.
It's a go-to.
Like, it's just like the perfect card.
Yeah, we're cheating equipment equip costs, and it's giving indestructible, which is something you already want. Oh yeah. All you have to do is just make other ways to make it hard to target, and then you're golden. Then the dog will never be attacked. Speaking of which, we have Prowler's Helm. 2 colorless for a 2 equip artifact. Equipped creature can't be blocked except by walls. That dog will never stop. The Whisper Silk Cloak. Here's a version of that as well. 3 colorless for an equipment. Equipped creature can't be blocked and has Shroud. Be wary of this though. Shroud allows you to not target it as well. So you have to put this on last. Remember that.
And then you have all the Swords of series.
Yes.
Do what you wish. You could play any number of them. You could play all of them. You could play a couple of ones catered to your play group.
Yeah. Like I don't think there's a such thing as a bad sword of whichever one you pick. There are some that are definitely not as powerful as the other ones, admittedly, but they're all.
You're still getting
really
like a blanket protection and
Yep.
then like an effect for slapping somebody in the face.
Yeah.
Like, what more do you want?
Yeah. Now, downside is, as again, equipments in real life are very expensive. We need to go get them. So we have Stone Hewer Giant, 3 colorless white for a 4/4 giant with a colorless and a white tap. Search your library for an equipment and put it onto the battlefield. Attach it to a creature you control, then shuffle. It's everything you want. You go get it, you cheat it out, and then it cheats out the equip. Like,
He's not a dog, but he still fetches the equipment.
oh man, get out. And then last but certainly not least, we have the Thran Power Suit as mentioned before, but we have to get our things back or make multiples of them. We have Steel Shaper's Gift. It's a single white to search your library for an equipment card, reveal it, and put it into your hand. Again, we're hunting for answers. That's where you go find that specific equipment that you want and go ahead and bring it back. So this would be how I would build around an equipment dog. I would remove more of your either your creatures who don't care about artifacts or equipments and remove some of the actual artifacts. Some of the auras themselves, because you're now gearing more towards an equipment deck.
Now, I like my dog to be pretty and enchanting, okay?
Oh.
I prefer the enchantment side. Tell me about some of the cards that I might want to run on that side.
So I want to cover how enchantment is good and bad. So I agree. I think I personally prefer the enchantment side, personally. I love, as you guys know, the Vicious Scumbag loves Voltron decks. I love them. It's so funny. I'm trying not to build another one as we are recording this episode.
He gonna do it.
I know. The Quake Molt is coming. But you can just see him shaking. The benefit of equipments is they are really powerful, but they're easier to remove and they cost more, right? The enchantment side is I have an equipment deck and an enchantment deck, and the enchantment Voltron I think is more powerful consistently than the equipment side. There are way more cards that are enchantment matters cards than I think there are equipment matters cards. There's a lot of an artifact matters stuff, but not in the capacity that you want for equipments. So here are some of the enchantments that I did not see in this pre-con, which mind blown by. I'll give you some of the most powerful. We have Ancestral Mask. 2 colorless and a green, enchant creature gets +2/+2 for each other enchantment on the battlefield. This is huge. Even if you are only running a couple of enchantments yourself, if you just run 2 others, Dogmeat is getting +6/+6. And that's saying no one has enchantments, no Rhystic Studies, no land tax and smothering tithes, and there's so many enchantments that are staples that people run. Like Ancestral Mass is going to make you huge. In that same category, we have Ethereal Armor for only a white equipped creature. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 for each enchantment you control and has first strike.
Help me. I'm dying.
Now, here's the downside to enchantments. Honorable, you want to tell them what happens? There's a big flaw with enchantment decks.
Yeah, your dog gets sent to heaven, because we all know all dogs go to heaven, and so does your enchantments. But
I don't give a fuck.
That's right.
we gonna get them back
We're going to get them back.
in blood.
The downside is equipments stay after Dogmeat dies. Enchantments go back to the grave. So keeping some recursion is more important in the enchantment version than it is in the equipment version. So in regards to that, we have Open the Vaults. 4 colorless white. Return all artifact and enchantment cards from all graveyards to the battlefield under their owner's control.
Oh man, but we're milling ourselves. So who's more likely to have more stuff in the graveyard?
It might be the Dogmeat deck. And for those of you who don't know, enchant target things when they are not cast are just placed on things, which can get around Shroud. We now have 3 dreams. We need to go get specific answers. Getting enchantments is much easier to tutor for. 4 colorless and a white. Search your library for up to 3 aura cards with different names. Reveal them and put them into your hand, then shuffle your library. This is a 5-drop. Idyllic is 2. So you technically, even if you paid for Idyllic 3 times, it would still not be as cheap. That's crazy.
We're still fetching.
Yeah, but still fetching. This Dogmeat enchantment side also gains access to a win con. That is
Mayel's Aria.
I'd be struggling with the words. Mayel's Aria, okay? For Naya, it's an enchantment that just says, at the beginning of your upkeep, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control if you control a creature with power 5 or greater. Getting Dogmeat only 2 power higher in a Voltron deck is hyper easy. You should have this done almost the same turn he's out normally. Then it says, you gain 10 life if you control a creature with power 10 or greater. But the kicker here is you win the game if you control a creature with power 20 or greater. Now, I bet you're thinking, how the heck do we get Dogmeat to 20 power?
That's easy.
That's
the easy part.
You can do it with a single enchant. Colossification. 5 colorless green. Whenever it enters the battlefield, tap enchanted creature. Enchanted creature gets +20/+20.
I can hear Kagome. Sit, boy!
The ground shakes. Giant dog meat just flopping. Yeah, I can see it. This is a slept on aura. +20 is nothing to shake a stick at. Ooh, dog jokes. It's just the...
Nope.
That was our dad joke of the week. We apologize. My email isn't working.
Daddy, chill.
I'm sorry.
Help me.
The enters in tapped or tap that creature is actually pretty easy to get around. So that part isn't too horrifying.
You swing at him first.
Yep. And then you have ways to give it flash, which we already went over with Sigarda's aid. And on top of that, it's already tapped and attacking. And now it's a one shot. And then reducing its cost. We've already gone over reducers. You can do some pretty fun stuff with this.
You can take a bite out of crime.
Ow. That's the McGruff dog for you. Another one I would have expected a Fallout version of was Blood Mist. I don't know why they didn't take advantage of this. There's tons of blood-related enemies in Fallout. Blood Mist, 3 colorless and a red. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature you control gains double strike. Double the dog.
Double the dog, double the bite.
And the last type of concept I want to go over here is there are enchantments that naturally do two things. They will either recur themselves or return themselves to your hand. They either go back to the battlefield or they come back to your hand. I'm just going to give it like 2 examples. One's already in the deck, and it's like the GOAT, Rancor. Rancor is the absolute GOAT of recurring enchantments that are good.
I don't even know what Rancor even means. Like, that's a word. What does that even mean?
It's a beast in the Star Wars universe too. Yeah, we'll look it up. We'll look up what Rancor means. We're gonna level up our English.
I can't read. But you're a sensei.
I teach you to fight, not to read. But Rancor is a good one, but there are many that do this. I'm just going to give you a quick example would be Rafine's Guidance. It's a white for enchant creature. Enchant creature gets +1/+1. It sounds lackluster, but you may cast it from your graveyard by paying 3. There are a lot of other enchantments that have a very similar effect. They're like reassembling skeletons, but with enchants.
You also have Nomad Myth Taker. You can pay a white and tap it, return enchant creature card.
Exactly.
From a graveyard into play, enchanting a creature you control. Gets around Shroud.
Again, like we're not able to cover all of the cards here. If there's ones that you're wanting to go into and have this as a good reference, of course, we always post everything on our Moxfield. But I feel like this is a good base for people to have an idea because you can pick from either side of these, even if you weren't picking one to go with.
Yeah, you could do both and just have a mishmash of mashed potatoes and peas.
So if I had to give my final thoughts on the Dogmeat, my interpretation of this is pick one and see if you like it. See if you like the equipment side or see if you like the enchantment side. When you're playing it out of the box, which do you think is more fun to play or just a cooler concept? And then kind of explore from there using some of these more fixated versions.
You know what I would do?
Ooh, lay it on them.
Naya, self-mill with Blink.
It's a thing. That's why in the artifacts I had Sword of Hearth and Home. It's an equipment that blinks a target creature.
You keep blinking the dog. You mill all your stuff, and then you bring it all back.
You could totally make this a self-milling enchantment aura deck. And a card that actually likes that concept is Mazzy True World's Paladin. This is you know how we have dogs, man's best friend is a dog. You know what dog's best friend is? Apparently it's a halfling knight. It's a colorless and Naya for a 3/4 halfling knight that says whenever an enchanted creature attacks one of your opponents, Doesn't even have to be yours. It gets +2/+0 and gains trample. Whenever an aura you control is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, exile it. Until the end of your next turn, you may cast that card. This is the only one of the few cards I've ever been able to find that goes, oh, the enchantment died, I'll go get it for you. Like, it's beautiful. So keep these concepts in mind and let us know, how you feeling about the dog.
I'm about to end this man's whole career.
With the dog meat.
Chomp.
I am the vicious scumbag.
And I, your honorable sensei. And together, we are the Longturnlarry